Hey guys, how's it going? Ooh, there we go. Now the microphone sounds like it's up there. Been having some issues with it lately, but so we're September 10th, just past 1:31 p.m. I got a phone call. I'm gonna be taking about 2 o'clock. Actually, Ski and I are gonna talk for. Um, wow, this ain't too bad. What's the hourly? Nice late summer day. It is still summer. That's cool. That's all right. No chance of precipitation. We'll see the sunset tonight. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, no action in this video. This is only going to be about 30 minutes. No later, because after this I'm shutting that part down and then I'm going to go on to Google Hangouts and talk with my buddy Ski, see what he's been up to. We've been talking a lot last few weeks. His schedule is, by the sounds of it, potentially winding down, so that's always, definitely a good thing for him, because now he gets to um, either relax or do whatever the hell he wants to do besides work. So that's cool. That's always cool. Can't say that for everybody else. I know. I had a email conversation with Mike over Mike Rice over at Southwest Rails, and he's he's been okay with the hurricane that they had there. I think he was just on the outside from what I was saying, but um, I forget exactly what he was saying about his workspace last night. But it's it's been a little bit tough for him because he's basically been working his butt off and doing his thing. So, but I basically wanted to touch base with him to explain to him what my status update had changed. I think I did that earlier this week. I forget when I made the decision, the basically jump or don't jump decision as to what I was doing. Um, and I'm just trying to think if there, and Tom got back to me last night on the RTS forums. Um, Really, that was going to be where I was going to go, or decide where to go. That had the most impact on me, as far as, and I kind of knew that. I kind of knew that going in, because um, what that community wanted to do, or what they potentially were going to do, was going to determine which way I was going to go, and not which way I was going to go, but which kind of what I really was up against, or was I up against something, and was it enough that there was enough common interests. So here's the deal. This weekend, and you probably, if you've followed my YouTube streams, which of course I'm looking at my bandwidth usage right now, and I'm at 100 gigabytes. Downloads are pretty much at the 60 gig, where my uploads are at 40. So I'm pretty much using pretty much all my bandwidth. I think I got like 5 gigs to use in the next 2 days or something like that. Um, so I'm not going to be releasing any big videos. That beside the fact, I am getting some responses favorable to the latest videos I was doing with Stranded Deep. But at the same time, I know from at least my own personal experience, trying to go through even part or a full video of mine is takes a lot of time and effort. I don't know what the views mean, but the views went up on the second video. Unfortunately, I think my microphone was still a little screwy, although it's saying it's 100% right now. I gotta do some testing with that eventually and see what happens, because that game can get very loud, especially during the thunder showers. So, what's all this about? Well, let me just explain what my weekend was up to this point. And my weekend is far from over. It's 1:34. Normally, this is where I reset. This is where I start basically going back from what was our time, my son and I, to my time. And usually, what happens here is I switch focus back over to Run 8. There have been times in the past where I would go into a weekend and I was so looking forward to do something in Run 8 that it almost, and I'm not saying that I wasn't not looking forward to seeing him. I always have been because he's priority one anyways, regardless. But I was certainly had something else to look forward to that was going to carry me through. Now today I'm in a great mood. This is, and I'm going back tomorrow, and I got a busy day Monday. It's been getting pretty busy at work lately, and um, it's been interesting to say the least. But it's been okay. I mean, it's stress that I can handle, and they know I can only do so much, and it's been fine. Everything's cool. I do what I can. But that's where you don't want to you want to find something that makes you happy, but at the same time you don't want to sometimes I guess for lack of a better term you got to find that happy middle ground. So what I'll take you through this weekend, for example. And actually, this started last week, where I actually purchased a game for $16 called Stranded Deep. Now, I have been looking for something for my son and I. I I in one of my other videos, I was saying, I mean, basically, I talked to him about Run 8. It seemed like he was getting into it. He told me, and this is his words, as best as I can recall. He said he likes Run 8, but he only likes doing the sessions, which surprised me because there was a time where he just liked doing his own thing. He liked going in with me and just being silly and doing our own world and not having to rely on anything. But he said he actually liked it when other people were switching, or he actually liked it when other people were on. He said because for him, the AI was useless. All the AI did was just, move from point to point, so it really didn't matter to him. The traffic patterns don't really matter to him. Dispatching doesn't really matter to him. He likes the switching. He likes to see the action and stuff like that. So it was an interesting perspective, and I was, this is what happens with kids, is they, and I guess I'm a big kid because after 5 years, I notice my interests are starting to sway a little bit. As the program changes, suddenly my balance as far as how I feel is changing. And I'm not the only one that's there's Scott. I don't know how old Scott is, but he's not a spring chicken, and he watches a lot of my videos, so he knows. I know he's not going to take that personally. Um, he he's had the same feelings with he's trying to get stuff done. He's trying to find that happy place with that program, and he's finding that he's also looking at different things. So I I had been looking around. I found something called Raft, which was free. It lost my interest fairly quickly. It was fun at first, and then having a shark just eat your raft that you were on all the time was getting a little ridiculous. This game, the shark's actually a lot more clever, and you got a lot of islands, and you've got all kinds of crafting, and you got all kinds of things to do. The graphics are phenomenal. The sound is phenomenal. It is an open it's not open concept. What do you call it? It's an open whatever the hell you call it. It basically means it's still in development, but it's a pretty damn good. I find I've already got worth my $16 Canadian for it. Quite frankly, um, it's really been a blast. I've gone to arcades. Hell, I spent. Think of it this way. I mean, I went to Wendy's, my son and I. Now, normally I wouldn't do that, but unfortunately I ran out of lunch meat today, which is bad because I should be preparing a little bit better than what I did. Or not lunch meat. I ran out of bread, I think it was. But anyways, whatever the case is, I spent about that much in lunch, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well that was I mean, good waste of money right there. But anyways, um, when you think of a cost perspective, and I'm looking at cost perspectives a lot lately with my budgeting and everything. We've already got this weekend alone. has been worth that and more. Run 8 at the same time has also been worth the price of admission and more in the long run, considering it's been over 5 years. I despite the fact that you could say, I purchased another computer for a server, technically, maybe I've purchased two computers when I think about it. Um, you could say there was about $1,000 investment, maybe eight. I'll lowball it and say even 500, because I would have bought a new computer anyways because the other one, ended up giving up. So let's say I didn't have to, and I was still going to buy another computer anyways. And then, I still was going to buy a computer for my son and all that other stuff. Let's just say $500 investment is still, considering the amount of years you've had in that. I mean, there's some games that cost $100, sports titles each year. And that doesn't give you nearly as much enjoyment that Run 8 has given me up to this point, and it still has a lot of potential. Make no mistake about it, I know Run 8 still has a lot of potential. But at the same time, things are starting to change, and I'm seeing it. And I'll go with my weekend before I get into the Run 8 set. We get into, he does his karate. No, we get home Friday. I pick him up. Actually, no, I played Stranded Deep on my own before I went to pick him up on Friday night, I believe. I believe I got into it and started doing a few things. I had already played a little bit by myself a few times, got killed twice and all that other stuff. And then we did a live stream this weekend, I think early on, maybe Friday night or what it was, and the microphone was all screwed up. But anyways, I think it still screws up personally. So I'm not worried too much about it, honestly. My YouTube, I'm starting to really question why the hell I'm YouTubing, despite the fact that I get thumbs up and I get some comments, and I see people that are interested in Run 8. I see people, I see all kinds of interest, but I ask myself, is it really worth it sometimes? Because I've been really questioning myself, like, is it really worth going through all this? I enjoy doing it. I enjoy putting out these things. If people are enjoying them, then why not? It doesn't really cost me that much to do it, other than a little bit of bandwidth. So, anyways, I'm playing it before I see him, then I go pick him up, and what do? We go right into it. And we stay into it. We play Friday, Saturday he goes to karate, whatever. I think for lunch we watched a little bit of wrestling, then we went right back into it. Saturday night we went out for a good 1 hour walk. Came back in, played it again. Both nights he was up pretty late with me. Today, ditto. He was up fairly early. We were playing it, and it is a very addictive game that really captures you. It had mixed reviews because apparently one of the old versions was better, etc., etc. Anyways, I don't want to start going. This isn't about Run 8 or Run 8. Yeah, Stranded Deep, Run Deep. This is about Run 8. I want to address what's going on with me and what I see what's happening. As I've mentioned, Ski and I are going to be talking in about 15 minutes or so. We've had a lot of different conversations on this and other topics, but both prototype. We've talked about some of the prototype. We've talked about Run 8. We talk about a lot of things besides work and all kinds of different. But I certainly have a lot to talk to him about. And actually he gave me some information this week that kind of blew me away. So I mean, there's a lot of potential to go on. So I think he still has an interest in it. Obvious. Well, I wouldn't say obvious, but from what I know, I would say obviously he has an interest in it. I have an interest in it. But I needed the break. And I don't think it's going to be a permanent break. I don't think it's going to be a prolonged break. But it is right now at least a break until I know I have an idea what's going on. Here's the issue. Okay. California in order to have a really good community as far as I'm concerned. And I was part of the Run 8 whatever Southwest. Well, you might get 6 people on there, but you have basically one or two, maybe three. I don't know. You probably get more than 6 people on there, but you have only a few limited people who are interested in dispatching, which changed. I don't know why it changed, but we used to have a huge demand for dispatching. And my God, there's times where I just want to run a train, especially under dispatch conditions in a nice territory. I would even go so far if I knew I could find people who wanted to dispatch on a regular basis, I would actually purchase that last eastern section past Needles. But quite frankly, I don't see it. I mean, I see servers out there, yeah, but what are they doing? What are these servers doing? Are they running sessions? Are they running 24/7? I mean, what are they doing? I don't know. And yeah, they got forums and they got all kinds of things, but there's a lot of things that drive me away from getting involved, or I don't know what they're doing. I just don't know enough about what they're doing. And I can go to their forums, and if they put out YouTube videos and anything that could get my attention to say this is what they do, then I'd understand. Sometimes I don't know if people know what we're doing, but we have a lot of information out there. A lot. Maybe it's too much information. I don't know. Some could say that. Maybe there's too much YouTube. Some could say that for sure. And I only got 15 minutes to explain this, so I'm going to try to step up to it. So, California, though, in order to have that exchange, put it this way, if you're going to run 100% capacity on a scheduled basis, even with AI assistance, you need to have, if you need dispatching, I think you need at least 4 people. Not, I'm not talking about dispatching. I'm talking about enough to run somebody to run Barstow, and then you got, but ideally you need about 8 people. We used to get by with 6 very qualified people. But we would switch around, and I'd be in charge of one yard, and then next time we were doing another yard. I was always stuck in some yard, mostly, and maybe I'd get the odd local. But did I ever get the time to really run a main line? Not really. I had too much responsibilities. We always had too much work to do. And that was my problem with California. It was drawing too much out of me. Now, that's where I saw Selkirk Mohawk. And I realized that was a fairly virgin territory as far as the amount of work. So I looked at that and I said, can I dispatch the entire territory by myself? Yes, I can. Well, first I did a Selkirk project, and I did a Bakersfield project. The problem with that is you take away too much of the actual route. You are at a disadvantage to try to get people who like other parts of the route. That's the problem, and that's the issue, the catch-22 that anybody who puts a server up has to consider. If they don't put the particular card types out, or if they don't put the particular routes out, and people don't get to use what they have, it's a catch-22, because suddenly you're now restricting people to really enjoy it fully because they have all the equipment, or they have this route, or they have this. So Southwest Rails has it all, and they have enough people to keep it going, and they're doing their thing, and I guess they're going okay. So that's fine. I mean, they're doing their thing, they're doing fine. I've run on Southwest Rails. I got to run main lines a few times, but it is what it is. So I mean, I think that's probably the best California server, that if I ever have the itch to go to California, that's where I'm going to go. Because, well, there's nothing RTS, and I don't know about these other places. And I'm not on Depot. Nor will I be. And I'm not part of the exclusive Depot Plus Club because, well, I'm just not part of any of that. For various reasons that I'm not even going to get into, because I'm just going to waste time on it. So I got like 11 minutes here, 10 minutes, we'll say. So I looked at Selkirk Mohawk and I said, okay, I can dispatch that territory. I can set up a system. I can do this. Selkirk Mohawk at first presented a lot of issues that I had to overcome. I worked around them. I tried to overcome them. I tried to do what I could. Um, Now I'm going to mention, and this was an issue for me, but I didn't want to scare anybody off, and I didn't want to offend anybody. Jerry was with me, and he was very loyal. He was the one guy that was with me the whole time, and it was an issue to me, but I didn't mention it because I didn't want to scare him off. I didn't want to offend him. I didn't want to do anything that would, and I don't know. And he was having fun, and he had a lot of time. I would dispatch. He would run the switchers, and every time he would, want to run the switchers, whatever. And who knows? Maybe I was saying that I was the one that was always going to dispatch, and maybe I wasn't really posting messages or communicating enough to say. And even if I was, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because I think Selkirk Mohawk was eventually going to disinterest me. Because eventually I'd be running the trains or I'd run the switchers, and it would be, blah. But it basically turned out to be I'd go through the process of getting all the trains set up, ready, spawn, blah, blah, blah. And I would dispatch and basically make sure I spawned the trains at the right time. And he would do the switching jobs. And that was the routine. And I could do a live stream and I could check out what he was doing and I can run trains around. But the traffic patterns, the amount of complexity in it was so little and there just wasn't enough traffic that the operation was boring. Even when you throw in the Amtraks, I mean the Amtraks, they were too the freights were too powered, so it was difficult for the Amtraks to overtake. The freights pretty much could stay in front of the Amtraks a lot of time because they had so many station stops. It really didn't have enough for me, so I put it to the side. I didn't say goodbye to it, but I put it to the side. Then the Florida release came. Right around the time I forget what I was doing, but I was getting ready to do something, and I know that. And the Florida release, I think I no, actually I was getting ready to upgrade RTS2 because I realized that I needed to if I was going to really have the type of stuff that I wanted. Plus, I started looking at the various automation things that we were able to accomplish. I've made a lot of breakthroughs in the last little bit, such as bringing cars to a yard such as Rand's Yard or whatever, and having the locals, if nobody touches them, they turn back. So I had all these innovative little things that was working. I even got so far that I was able to have the trains themselves have realistic tags on them coming out of a manifest by simply going in, stopping, and basically it would trigger a retag. Everything was great. So I had all these things going, but then I realized I didn't know what was happening with the 24/7 server. So that was draining on me too. And I wasn't too sure if I was going to have enough interest because it didn't seem like I had enough interest on the forums for anything. In fact, there's hardly any interest on the forums as far as I can tell, other than what's going on in the day-to-day operations of the 24/7 server. So I started getting deja vu, thinking, okay, I could dispatch Florida and Waycross by myself. I could probably run the hump and probably rerun the trim, but would I ever get to run a mainline train? And the answer to that is I don't know because I never got that far. I got through up to the noon point, and then that was when I just realized it's not in me right now. It's just not in me to really push that hard because I don't see that energy in the rest of the community or anywhere for that matter. I don't see. And I also know in the back of my mind, Florida is going to expand. They are going to expand. Just like every other route, they're going to expand. As soon as California expands west, even when I was dispatching, and I knew my days were numbered, because as soon as LA comes out, I can no longer dispatch the West End. I'm done. Because I wouldn't have that territory. So I'm disqualified from operating. Florida, they expand suddenly. I don't know if I have enough people to make it. And so all that work I put in, I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know. But here's the thing. Now I got 5 minutes, and I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk to Ski about it. Maybe I'll put this out there for others, and maybe I just won't worry about it right now and see what happens. I've always said two people can run most things anywhere. Because if you can get two people to agree on something, in other words, two people who agree on the limits of a territory, two people who agree on how they like to run, two people who agree on how they like to dispatch, two people who agree on a route, two people who agree on anything. Suddenly, now you have somebody else who can dispatch and you can run main lines, or somebody else can do this and you can run switcher, somebody else can do this. You can exchange that save file, you can do anything, you can email back and forth, and I basically call it the buddy system. That to me is the only thing that is possible for saving it, because we can't get enough people together that are really truly interested, or at least organized. We can't get enough drive right now. And we really, to me, we really need that. I know a lot of people have gone alone single player. Well, that's great that you've gone alone single player, but if that's enough for you and you don't care about the symbols and you want to run whatever you want to run and just, okay, see how long it lasts. I mean, if it lasts as long as it does, best of luck for you. Good luck for you. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad people are happy. But for some of us who really want to do something different, first of all, everybody's tastes are different. Even as you can see, my goals of what I have in a server versus what even Tom has was so different enough that we couldn't even though both of us I think wanted to extend Olive Branch, there's only so much that both of us were willing to do, and in the end it wasn't going to happen, and I knew it. I kind of knew it. I kind of knew it before you didn't even reply to anything, because I knew right there nobody was excited about it, nobody cared, nobody in the community was posting. I was just like, okay, I know right then and there it ain't happening. I can't see it happening. And why? And I don't want to destroy something that Tom has taken so much to build, and he's happy enough with his limited group of people. It's working for him. Whether it's 6 people or not, it's working for him. That's the thing. So why should I interfere in that? And I'm glad I'm not. I'd rather be doing my own things. I'm not hard done by any means. I mean, man, I just had the time of my life with this weekend. So, anyways, I hope that settled everything. I don't want to be trapped. I don't want to put myself into trapping myself into a situation where, basically, I'm putting myself into a point where I'm miserable. So, I'm gonna go for a nice long walk later today. I think I'm planning a two-hour one. I had a 1 hour yesterday with my son, but I'm gonna do 2 hours today. Get down to maybe towards the lakeside from here. So I'm looking forward to it. This is a good reset. I have no interest right now in getting into Run 8, but there's some good developments, and I will talk to Ski and see if there's some possible positives to come down the road, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, Mike and I, Ski, we get along just great. We like to do things together, and I'm looking forward to whatever it is. Even if we don't agree on everything, it doesn't matter. So whatever he wants to do, see if we can get some stuff together, and I'll report back if there's anything to report. Anyways, wow, my screen just changed, so I better call him. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.